Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Stock Talks podcast. I'm here with my co-host Stock, and we are joined by our guest, the Keon. And today we have another tragic news to report on: the assassination and death of Charlie Kirk. Mr. Stock, would you like to recap the events for us?
Yep. So today, today as of recording, but Wednesday, September 10th, dear about midday. This was about 12 or 1 ish. I haven't seen an exact time, but about 12 or 1. Charlie Kirk was shot from somewhere unknown as of right now, but people have theories. Shot through the neck. It looks like. Pretty much killed him on point.
Well, from the video, it definitely was his artery in his neck. I don't know the medical term for it, but it was definitely from the close-up shots I've seen, it was right on the neck, and it looked like it was either instant death or within a few seconds.
He lost
Surviving
he
that.
lost a massive amount of blood just within.
Yeah.
We can't show the video on YouTube, but it
I
was.
don't recommend you watch the video either. I don't recommend it. Well,
If you have,
I do if you
if you
don't
have,
understand the gravity of the situation, but
I'll say for those who don't want to look up the video, it was a clean shot. It looked to be very precise, and he, from what I saw, it looked like he died within moments. And so we can at least take comfort that he probably did not suffer during his death, for what comfort there can be in this situation. But yeah, so there's a lot of things about this situation that we really don't know because we are, unlike the last episode we reported on, a lot of this information is still relatively new. And unlike last time, we have no idea who the shooter was because during when it all happened, an old man who appeared to be in their 60s said that he was the shooter, but he was false flagging and was apparently not the shooter.
he is under arrest now for obstruction of justice, and he is going to get seriously uh, hit with charges.
Yeah, but
I really
because
don't know what he was trying to do by doing that.
It
we
looks like he
will,
was trying to give the other person time to get away, which seems to have worked because they still don't
um,
have the other person as of right now.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we'll more of our thoughts and everything on it. We're just kind of covering everything, but there is a little bit of footage of someone on the roof of the uh, the campus wearing all black who seemed to have some type of rifle. I'm getting from a source, Mike, whatever. Yeah, I'm stuttering, but apparently it was about a 200-yard shot. So it was a very precise shot to hit in the neck, which means this person had some skill and possibly ex-military, ex-law enforcement, or just a skilled hunter. Which I want your two thoughts on that, considering the theory at the time of recording is about 200 yards.
It looks I mean, it's very interesting. It's a weird situation right now. It is especially weird that we don't have anybody yet because it feels like as soon as that happened, the whole area should have gone under immediate lockdown. But they may also have somebody and just not sharing it yet. But I mean, they're not going to get away with it. Obviously, there's cameras everywhere. Well, I'm sure within the next few days we'll see a better angle of what happened. The spot where the person was. We'll start to see more of that in the coming days, but as of right now, it just being 200 yards is interesting.
Which I will say the Trump assassination was around 100 yards away. So this is double the length. So that's just back throw out there. Keon, your thoughts on this?
I thought it was, you know, from my perspective. I mean, there's been several shootings for the past since the past year. Especially since July of last year when Trump was shot in the ear, and I think it's kind of something new for really what looks to be someone who knows what they're doing. Uh, if it is a leftist radical, this would be probably the first one who kind of had this all planned out. I'm really not sure. In the coming weeks, we'll probably get more information, but um, really at the moment, I know right now we still have little info on identifying the shooter, who committed the crime. But I know like Luigi, it took several weeks. They had his face, and it took several weeks to find him. So I think it'll be really interesting. We're used to kind of having the suspect being caught, re- you know, decently soon. So it'll be interesting these coming weeks.
Yes, and a good point. The thing is, it's going to be a lot longer till we ever find the shooter because they very clearly planned this out way ahead of advance, being covered in all black, facial identity, along with uh the uh the old guy. I don't know his name at the time recording, being kind of just saying it was him and uh kind of diverting police resources, allowing the real shooter to escape. Which I want to bring up this point since we've really gone over all the basic information we uh, know, is that the guy who volunteered to be the shooter or took the, I guess, yeah, volunteered. He was in late ages, I say around 60. He could be in his early 70s, but I want to recall about how all those protests a while ago were ran by very older members of society, and I'm wondering if this old man was either paid off or just was a part of that crowd who was a part of that crowd who would protest in the older ages. And you know how there was theories about all of them being paid off by the Democrats. I want your guys' thought on that.
Well, yeah, they could be paid off by the. You're talking about that just alone, paid off by the Democrats, are really just hippies from the '70s who are feeling nostalgic. It's kind of my take,
Mr.
but I really don't know what this this really. I really don't know what this older guy's motive was to, you know, just to come out and admit it was him. I don't know if he was, having some type of delusional fantasy or something, but I don't think he was part of
I mean,
anything bigger.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we really don't know because this guy could have just volunteered randomly just to give the shooter longer time to get away. We really don't know what his motives were. He could have just been some random person who just all of a sudden decided to take the blame. We really don't know. Mr. Stock, what are your opinions on this? On the false shooter?
I think it's just we're at the point of insanity to where somebody just was going to cover for somebody else because they thought they would become a hero among their people. Not necessarily maybe not a hero, but they thought, yeah, I mean, they thought they would become like a figure of praise among the left for taking the fall for somebody,
Yeah.
and they're not, obviously. I mean, they're going to get prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Yes.
So
Now, I wanted to go into the just disturbing, uh, just a disturbing thought process of all the people celebrating this death and how a wife and two children just lost their husband and father, and it just shows. I know you texted me this earlier, Stock, that these people really want anyone who disagrees with them dead.
yeah, I got a lot to say on. I mean, these people are just they're evil. They just want you to they want you dead. They want you shot in the street. If you disagree with them, they don't want you alive to even argue on the situation. Uh, a lot of people are already coming out, uh, joking or making fun of the event when obviously this is not the time to do that. It's just purely evil. I mean, we can list off a few of the people already who've come out saying stuff. Usual suspects, if you'll remember, during the trumpet assassination attempt, Destiny come out saying the two people in the back deserve to die. Destiny has already commented, making a joke about somebody changing the Wikipedia page for Charlie Kirk. You've got all the Redditors are out in full force making snide comments under their Reddits and news. Uh, yeah, even like Hassan Piker refuses to call this a bad situation necessarily. It playing semantics basically with the wording.
which is insane because we literally saw a guy get shot and bleed to death, or at the worst, choke on his own blood before he died. Like the fact that these people are not viewing this as a tragedy, as a family losing their father and husband, or as just a blatant murder, is insane to me. And it just shows the crumbling morals of our society right now.
Yeah, we got the Hassan's take was Charlie Kirk was shot at an event he was conducting at UVU campus in Utah. Nothing else. And then followed that up with America is an insanely violent nation. Charlie Kirk's shooting is the 46th school shooting this year thus far. Completely derailing the subject, also, but that's a different topic.
Yeah.
Uh, Followed up by Trump announces that Charlie Kirk was shot at an event at UVU campus, has died, and then shares a statement from Donald Trump about the assassination. Followed up by the official press conference just said they don't have the suspect. What the heck is going on? And they clarified there's a person of interest who is in custody at the moment. Followed up by retweeting somebody wishing death upon him earlier in the year. So I don't even know. It is just the blatant sidestepping of the issue. This is going to completely destroy the left. There's no recovering from this for 10 years at least, if not longer.
I wouldn't say, but it's definitely going to obviously destroy their chances in the midterms and possibly 2028.
Oh yeah, it's destroyed 2028. There's no recovering from this.
Uh,
The like you've got a lot of people who refuse to admit that it's wrong. You've got the news already trying to
play down.
twist the situation because MSNBC come out first saying we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration. We have no idea. We don't know any of the full details on this, which is an insane thing to say. It, Speculating that it might have been somebody in celebration firing when it's so obvious from an immediate. It's just the immediate downplay of the situation, trying to twist it into something else.
Hmm.
It is so blatantly obvious now. Most people are no longer going to be able to sidestep anything now. There's no overlooking what's going on in the left now with the extreme levels of hate speech, not hate speech, I'm sorry, what's the word I'm looking for? Calls to violence, uh calls for violence against individuals, wishes for assassinations, and now that can no longer be overlooked by the general population.
I mean, to an extent, it is hate speech. I mean, when you want when you legitimately, want to execute half the population because they hold a slightly more conservative view, I mean, we don't define it as hate speech because we try to um, wrap that around, ethics and race. But I mean, that is what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I also saw. I'm shifting into another segment, I guess. I also saw how black people were celebrating. This was when the fall shooter was found that the shooter was white because some were saying it would have started a race war. And I have to agree with them. If the shooter was black or of any minority, it would have uh, definitely caused a mini race war, especially with the immediate aftermath. Um, yeah, I mean, that's just obvious. I can't really ask for your opinions on it because it's basically going to be the same if I'm correct.
I don't know about a race war necessarily if the shooter had been black,
I mean, a mini.
but it would have it would have definitely galvanized people because of the recent events with the Ukrainian girl. It would have definitely furthered that. But those two following each other right now are have completely destroyed the left. There's not any recovery from this in the near future because all you have to do if you're running against any leftist is just point to this and that's it. It's over. There's
Mm-hmm.
no argument.
It's going to be interesting when midterms come because I kind of hold the view. I really think the right and the left is quite literally insane, and I'm sure there's been a lot of controversy on the right recently with you know a certain guy, but Epstein. But I it's going to be interesting when midterms come. I don't know what it's going to look like.
It's
Uh,
definitely gonna cause a big situation. It's gonna be. I think there's no that we're gonna see like a huge red sweep. There's no winning this. There's no way there's not any way they can twist this situation for the general public.
yeah, this is just an extremely bad PR for any leftist organization because not only do you have all the major school shootings in recent months being trans, and that's also going to
Oh
hurt
yeah,
them,
it's
but the fact that it's a this has happened now and it's just a blatant political assassination for his beliefs is just going to ruin a lot of their credibility for a while.
it's
But I
really
want
the
to
public. Sorry, continue.
you go on. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, really, like the response of the public left. No, like quite literally, no empathy, no accountability. It goes back to the school shooting, a couple of weeks ago with the trans guy. You know, they, they say, "Oh, we feel bad for the kids," but really, it's the conservatives' fault because they should have passed gun laws. It's really their fault. And this is gonna be the same thing. Right now they're celebrating his death. And what's
You
even
can't
more,
even. I don't even think you can blame this on gun laws. I don't think there's any way to twist this story. I think it's just bad, no matter what way you look at it.
oh yeah, but they're gonna try to do it. Just
Oh
with
yeah, they'll
how
try.
insane they are. And
Or
they have no empathy. And Charlie Kirk, he wasn't really even. He was just the guy who debated college students, and
He was
they
like the most reasonable of them.
I
Like
exactly.
know.
he was the only one who actually went and talked to a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, the first things I saw when opening Twitter and seeing the news was someone sharing a message they got from one of their friends and literally opened, do you think gun laws would have prevented this assassination? And judging from when I saw the tweet, it was literally posted minutes after the actual assassination, which is insane because either they don't have no empathy or a few are trying to use it as a gotcha moment, which I know there are. I've talked to a few of my left leaning friends who feel complete sorrow for this, but and they have acknowledged that a lot of the loud minority is going crazy with this, and it is just making the left look horrible.
Yeah, they
Oh
Which
yeah,
destroyed their future.
you think it's just some niche groups of the left too. Maybe, but like I thought that's what I thought. I literally went on his wife's Instagram page, and there's people posting like clown emojis and other like, oh yeah, I'm glad your husband is dead down in her recent post and her replies, and it's like, you know, that's his wife's Instagram. It's like insane, you know.
which it's making me think. You remember that that little law that was being presented, or that AI thing that was meant to be early warning for school shooter activities? You know what I'm talking about, Stock?
Yeah, the recent thing that was introduced after the last school shooter.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to be ramped up because of this even more for political violence.
Getting a live report, authorities seeking new person of interest in the assassination. No one is in custody as of right now, officials say.
Mm.
I mean, this happened. What's the time? It's almost 9. Is it 9 o'clock?
That was about 8 hours ago. Eight,
Yeah. So
9 hours ago.
you think he's been, let's say he's been driving, let's be like really, really conservative. Maybe he ran some 7 hours. Like, where do you think he's problem?
It,
Who knows where he could be?
I doubt he probably left the city at the moment because of how much it's on lockdown.
Yeah, I don't
Could
think he
be.
would have been able to get out by
He's
now.
probably
I don't think it's
he, he's probably trying to lay low somewhere. My
Uh,
guess.
But I mean,
it,
I just
they'll
don't.
find him probably tomorrow. But yes.
I mean, we'll see. And for
The
those who are
guy.
watching, just
I
for
was
those who
just
are
gonna
watching,
say.
but so much information is just coming out right now that we it's best to keep up on this on your own time because even by the time we upload this, it's still going to be there's going to be new information. Unlike the last episode in the school shooting, we had most of the information by then. No, there's just going to be a ton more information coming out because we just haven't caught the person who shot Charlie, and we we honestly don't. It's going to be a few days, so I would encourage everyone to keep up with this on your own time. But uh, Mr. Keon, if you want to continue,
I was just gonna say. I really don't know. I mean, I don't know how much information is out currently, but you know, if this guy really knew what he was doing, I mean, we had Luigi's face, and it took several weeks. What was it? They found him in a McDonald's, and then we have the second Trump. You know, it was the second attempted assassination on Trump. It was that old guy. I'm sure he was headed for Mexico, and he was out on the side of the golf course, and it took them several hours before they could find him. So, I think it'll be interesting. I think if they, I agree with stock. I do think it's, with the tech, the tech we have, and like, a lot of times we underestimate law enforcement. They'll probably find him. I mean, just with how many cameras are around campus, and they're going to try to track him down. They can verify your license plate at any intersection. But I if hypothetically if he doesn't get found, I think it's gonna I don't know if it's really gonna stir things up, or at this point I think a lot of people, there's so much stuff that goes on nowadays. People just kind of you know leave it at that and don't worry about it. But if he's
I
never
mean,
caught, I don't know.
there's if he's not caught, there are definitely going to be some major changes coming to at least the security sector, but a lot of things and probably a bit more government control in situations like this, which is always a slippery slope. But I wanted to, which you made a good point, Mr. Keon. I just have nothing to add to it, but
Oh
I
no,
was I
you're
was
right.
thinking with how Trump wants to clean up all the other cities and deploying the National Guard, I wonder if this will only embolden and make a stronger response happen. And because I think he's going to make a very strong response, especially with how there were a few gangs threatening uh, uh, the deployment, and how it's just going to be a much more strong response and a much more firm hand gripping. Uh,
Well, I don't think this guy. I mean, he might have been, but I would assume he wasn't. I mean, someone going for political, trying to do something and trying to kill a political figure for a political motive.
mhm.
I sort of, I would doubt he's like a crook or a criminal or a part of some gang.
I didn't
You
mean he I didn't mean that he was a part of it. I'm just thinking that that is going to make the response stronger and just a reaction more than anything. And just make all this be
Yeah.
put how I really don't know because it's still so fresh, so much new
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
going to
yeah, I
shift.
don't know.
I'm going
Sorry.
to. No, you go on real quick because I was going to shift over to Mr. Stock. You finish your point
I,
real quick.
I was just gonna say, I know he's gonna continue his National Guard and all that, but I definitely think we're gonna go into the age where, kind of like if you're doing public speeches, if you're doing, political making political points, uh gonna go into the age where there's, extra security and because, if you're a political activist, I mean, especially if you're right wing, like I mean you really and you're popular, it's I think in the long term it's really difficult to try to risk. I guess it's difficult to survive, you know, doing these speeches long term because you just anger so many people. You're out in the open.
Yeah. Anyways, I want to shift over to you, Mr. Stock, and I know you had a lot to say about this situation, so I want you to open up with one of your things you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, it's just this is a turning point in the U.S. history. Obviously, this is our like next MLK level event. Right? That's how I think that's how big this is. This is our first 21st century political assassination, purely political assassination in the 21st century, I believe. Uh, the amount of people that are coming out in support is amazing, or I mean, support of the family and everything. Obviously, you've got your right wing pundits, right wing people, but the amount of just everyone coming out, left, right, wanted to highlight H3H3 had a very good response today, famous leftist, but he especially understands how dangerous political threats can be online. And that, I mean, that's what this all is the danger of radical online speech. And, I'm a free speech absolutist, but there is a point where you as a person need to be regulating your chat. You as a person need to be saying these are bad things to say because when you let stuff run rampant, you end up with situations like this. I mean, just a few days ago, Hassan Piker, one of his chatters, was caught making terroristic threats. That's happened before. It'll happen again. This is what happens when you don't outright come out and condemn everything bad about these situations. It is just going to lead to more death. And obviously, this is radicalized the right. This is radicalized probably millions now into being forever red voters, which I, is no fault but their own. The only way they could have even attempted to save this was to have a unilateral push to say this was a bad event, and maybe they could have, but already you've got so many people already muddying the waters. There's no way they can save this. This is a party destroying event for at least 5 years, if not 10.
Yeah, I mostly agreed with that statement since at the end of the day, this is just I can't even like fully like still comprehend the situation because like the video still is like in my mind, like just thinking like because when I had to go to class before we recorded this episode, and I was just thinking I just watched a guy die, and now I'm just sitting in class. It's just still hard to wrap my head around, man. At the end
Yeah,
of the day,
I was at work when I saw the video, so it's like I had to finish out my shift, and I was like, "This is I how am I supposed to continue forward without processing this?" It's just amazing, or not amazing, but it's like how do you I don't know. How do you move forward from a situation like this?
I
How did
mean,
you move forward from a situation like JFK? I don't know. I wasn't there. I can understand the implications looking back now, but being in the moment is insane.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll continue going on, but it's really just the fact that we have no idea who the shooter is. All these what ifs are still in the air and all above.
I just really want to know what his motive was. Especially, there's one thing you've heard about these politically inclined assassinations where usually they're trying to achieve something. You know, this guy that the little information we have about him, seems like he knew what he was doing, like I've repeated. I really don't know what his goal was because this, like I said, Charlie Kirk is just he debates college students. I assume it's really my best guess would really just be to further divide and destroy, us as a nation. Uh, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's it's I don't even know.
It's just a tragedy. It's a tragedy that for us, I guess this is our generation's not JF, Martin Luther King. This is our our figure that many on the right look up to, and he's gone all of a sudden. It's basically that if you really think about it, and it's
It
just
is
it is kind of shocking because every major political thing that has happened, we have been really young or oblivious, or we had school or something, and we just didn't care. But now that we're adults and we're seeing all this happen, it feels like it's just happened. It's happening with all in basically 1 year since Trump was shot at before he was elected, all the way now. It just seems to be only getting worse and worse, the political violence, and it's a
Well,
front trend.
that's what's crazy, and this has only been, you know, I guess I get there's always been shootings, but I guess with this constant political violence, you can include some of the time prior to the Trump assassination. But I mean, there was a good streak where there was an assassination happening per each month after July of last year. And it's only been a year since then, and Kirk, a little over a year, and now Kirk's dead. What are things going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15? You know, I really don't know.
Yeah, I think really the biggest reason why political violence has become a lot more such a trend in America is just because the fear mongering during the 2024 election. And I think that has just gotten people so fearful that they've just resorted to this. Like the propaganda at its finest work, honestly. Now, you can blame whoever you want for the propaganda, but the end result, it doesn't matter at the end of the day now because the end result is the dead men on our hands now. And how are we going to solve it? How are we going to find who did it? How are we going to fix the problem that we have now? That's what we got to figure out.
yeah, I don't know where we go from here, but obviously w- the main thing that has to be addressed right now is violent online speech. We have to address calls for death. We have to address people the constant level of violence. Like obviously, just in the past a couple of hours here, we've had people coming out and saying stuff, saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna talk." Quoting somebody here, "You're next, tread lightly," in response to a JD Vance tweet about the Charlie Kirk situation. So we've already got even more people making calls for death. It's not going to fix unless we address those problems and people actually start to see consequences for making threats against people until, let's say, Twitch, YouTube, mainly Twitch, that's the really bad place, actually starts to moderate their platform. And when you've got people who are spreading terrorist propaganda, calling for the death of people, uh, spreading beliefs of wanting people killed, looking at a certain somebody over there, but uh, you've got to actually take care of those people and not let them go unpunished. I mean, you have to enforce your TOS at least, but you should
Uh, I mean, I get what you're saying, Mr.
bad.
S- Like, I get what you're saying because in public, if you're in a public place and you threaten to kill someone, that is something you can go to jail for because it's threatening someone's life.
The call to violence.
Yeah, which is a lot harder to do any of that on the internet. Which I know you're a free speech absolutist, and I bet you know the risk of you saying that, but it
Oh
really
yeah,
is.
I understand. I
I want,
understand getting rid
yeah,
of internet anonymity, but there has to be something done to address these situations because you can no longer let people go unpunished for making direct calls to death. There has to be looking into it, and you can find these people. It's not like we do not have to have the real ID system. We don't have to have any of that. These people who are making calls to violence are pretty easy to track down when Twitter has their IP address, what they signed up with, all that stuff. They can be easily turned over to the police if need be. It's just a lack of actually prosecuting anything that's the issue, not there's not anonymity on the internet. If you're on the internet and your IP address is linked to your home, they will find you.
yes,
And
I
but
mean,
that's what has to start happening to these people who are making direct calls to violence is they have to start getting arrested. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to get worse.
yeah, because at this
well,
point, it's not a call to violence. It's a call to terrorist activity. Like a political assassination is a terrorist attack.
Yeah,
Because
this was a terrorist attack today.
I mean, really, you know, I really think this kind of all roots back to really just like the mainstream. It's really it's there's these all political echo chambers online, who do the death threats. But really, I think this does root back to kind of the mainstream media. When you tell when you tell you know 350 million people in the United States that a certain political party are quite literally Nazis and fascists, you're gonna get these people who like have these who feel like it's like some obligation to be the hero and do some like some crazy like awful terrorist
you're
attack because I think
yeah,
you know
we talked. I believe we brought this point up in the Trump assassination episode. Mr. Stock brought it up with that they're stopping future Hitler or something. It's their American duty or God given duty or something like that. And it's
yeah, and the
just
mainstream, yeah, it's
go.
the mainstream media. They
It's not even
say
main.
it's
It's not even mainstream media at this point. You see plenty of Twitch streamers do it, as Mr. Stock had said earlier. Destiny, back when President Trump was shot at, how he was calling for it and all that. It's not even mainstream anymore. It's Twitch streamers. It's some
well, it's like
YouTubers.
I'm just
It's
saying the
all
mainstream is the root, like
obviously,
the
but it's
root.
gotten it. The thing is, it's gotten so big. I know mainstream's the root, but it's not. But it you can't take out that root anymore because
Yeah.
there's all seeds planted.
Well, I'm saying like the Twitch streams and the the Reddit echo chambers, that is the public left wing response to what the mainstream media has said. The media has said, "Hey, these guys are Nazis and fascists," and they get it in their heads, and then they go in these chambers and they discuss it, and they're like, "Oh, what's a good thing we can do for our country? Yeah, we should kill the Nazis." And it's like, we
Well, yeah,
never blame it on the mainstream.
it's the issue I've brought up with people many times with the phrase "punch a Nazi." I I get the message behind it, and most people don't mean it literally. And most people, when confronted with the reality of that statement, will back down. But there are a lot who won't, and I've spoken to them directly. It's you cannot advocate for violence because of their beliefs, no matter how extreme, no matter what the belief is, unless it's a direct call to violence. There is no retaliatory action. You must meet it with words, not violence. Otherwise, you descend into chaos. You have to meet words with words and not violence.
It's the death of polite society.
Yeah, where now people. I mean, obviously, I've spoken to you about this. A lot more people, including people here, are probably going to be going armed now, which I don't
Oh yeah.
blame them. It's
And it's a threat to safety.
I think
yeah, it's a
I think the damage. Sorry. You continue.
no, you're good.
I was just gonna say, I really think the damage has already been done. Like we have an entire generation, and really two generations, maybe even three, who have it in their mind that have these extreme political beliefs where, I mean, yeah, they think that like the death of some of these people, like it's for the ultimate good. I know some of them won't outright say that. There's a lot who don't have that view, but there's quite a large chunk who I would guarantee you who sort of, somewhat hold that belief, and you would really have you would it's I would say it's so bad that you would have to put some of these people in like re-education camps. The amount of propaganda we just we just brush it off as like, oh, it's just the media, it's the internet. But most people people are on their most people are like chronically online, and they get all this information and they just, I don't know.
I
I
mean,
probably didn't make sense, but
no,
you know
you make good sense because we've even seen at the on our last episode, that school shooting, we saw that the shooter was chronically online, and that probably helped with a lot of their political beliefs.
yeah,
You're just a very common problem now is that both sides, no matter how vocal or quiet they are very digged in, especially the more loud ones are very digged into their side and very ride or die and the other side is pure evil at this point. It's very insane. It's just like I said earlier, the death of polite society. We cannot talk about anything. We cannot uh I mean, even Charlie himself is a great example because he was trying to debate and talk about things, and
yeah,
the farthest response should killing him should have never been a response, but it was, and now it's literally he was just trying to talk, argue, and if you had a chance, you had a chance to prove him wrong, but now you can't, and now his beliefs are just going to be stronger and better than ever,
yeah,
as Trump's little announcement.
Yeah, I mean, like, you've radicalized millions into their
You've
beliefs
you've
forever.
you've strengthened the like especially the college students who were there to help him or were on the fence, who were there to support him or on the fence. They are
Yeah,
just
well, that's
strengthened.
the other.
They're emboldened. They just watched many who just watched their idol die in the pursuit of his life dream or whatever, and that's just emboldened many to be more loyal to fight this fight that he's been talking about, and it's just breeded a ton more supporters for the Republican Party and the right. So even if this person thought it was the greatest idea, if he thought he was killing like an SS officer in his eyes, you have just made your situation 10 times worse instead of just debating him.
Mhm. That middle well, here's the other part. That middle percentage of people who sway on votes every year, what is the exact percentage? Like 60-ish that are not
Uh,
left or right. They're kinda sway voters and can be moved back and forth.
it's a good.
You've just moved, most of those people to the right for the foreseeable future.
It's just like what we said during the Trump assassination. That basically won him most of the election.
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
it,
like
and
even
yet you're good. And yes, there is no election on the line this time, but what was on the line is millions of loyal voters now made even more loyal, and just millions of young men and women who've just seen this person that this could someone could have just been their first time going here just to see what this person's talking about, right? It was like I was here and just saw him get shot for his beliefs. What do you think that's going to do to a person who's never been in politics? They're not going to get scared away easy. They're going to look at this. They're going to look at this person dying and be like, he must have had. He's going. They're going to look into it more. They're going to research him more and wonder why he was targeted and all that. It's just going to push more people forward and to look into his work more and get his voice. And his voice will now reach millions more. I mean, I'm repeating what I'm saying, but this is just both a tragedy for both sides at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, even if you don't, you know, even if you don't really like either party, and you're in that middle, middle percentage. I think 1000% the Republican Party is
Mm-hmm.
the lesser evil in all aspects. I mean, there's just no comparison.
I mean, especially after this, it makes them look like the lesser evil.
Oh yeah.
But Mr. Stock, do you have any more points to say about this horrible situation?
I mean, there's been a couple of businesses implicated in this that are going to get hit really hard. Obviously, we've got a lot of businesses in smaller businesses that are being targeted because they've had leaders, people working there come out and say horrible things today after this. Uh, like just people coming out and saying they what's the word I'm looking for? I just calling for violence, and they're going to get targeted now because people obviously want those people fired if they were calling for violence or celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk today.
Uh,
And it is we the big one though, the first like mainstream company that's gonna have to address this now is DC Comics because one of their new hires for writers was celebrating the death today. So they have to say something about this, otherwise the boycott is already building. This is going to be the first company that gets really hit by this if they refuse to fire the person working there because personally if they say nothing, I will never buy another DC comic again, so
I mean,
I
there's no, sorry, there's,
no, you're good.
I was just gonna say there's no awareness, like, to these people that say this stuff online. Like, they have no awareness really how it can affect their life. Like, what was it, several months ago, like a woman on Reddit who quite literally had pictures of her face online said online that she was going to kill Trump, going to go to one of his speeches and shoot him. And people on Reddit were like encouraging her. And of course, later on she got fired. But I mean, there's so many people like this. They can track their IP, they can find them, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing we can all take away from this is that this will be a very, I won't say every part, but a very large part or very large portions of American society have been affected by this, definitely. But I don't really have any more points to add. If you two have any more points to add on to this, because I've really said all I can without just adding on to what you all have said.
I don't think so. I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, I think pretty much that's
It's just a tragic event, and we pray for the swift. Uh, hopefully, I really don't know how to word this. We just pray that someone comforts and that God will comfort uh
yeah,
his family.
yeah.
It's just a tragedy.
It's just like also, I mean, it's one thing when you hear about somebody dying, but it really, I don't know, I guess it really makes you have a whole lot more empathy. Like, I mean, just seeing the video of getting him shot, like it's just, you know, I don't know. I'm sure you guys kind of felt the same way, but I mean, he
Uh,
had
The
His
video was
wife and his
shocking.
kid. No, the video of him being shot.
Yeah, it was shocking. Like, I literally had a verbal reaction. I had a verbal reaction to just seeing it up close, man.
I mean, yeah,
Like,
it's just like, his wife and his kid is probably they're probably gonna, I'm sure when
their,
his child was
their kid,
young right now, I'm
his,
sure they're gonna see it when they're older.
yeah, and that's another tragedy of the situation.
Yeah, they were there. Apparently, that's what I understand. Is they were at the event when it happened.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But that's all we have for today, gentlemen. Do you have any last thoughts to add?
Prayers. That's it.
Well, I guess that's all we have for you today. I hope you all enjoyed this episode for what little enjoyment we could get out of this. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed and be seeing y'all in the next one. Bye bye.